Hello, people of the internet. It is I, Nightmare Knight. Yes, I'm doing a cringy intro. How does that make you feel? Anyway, so I got bored, and I have recently made, not recently, it was a while ago, it's been a while since I made a video, but I recently enough made a video called something along the lines of, what was it? Answers for creationists, something like that. I'm going to do something along those lines again, but now I'm just doing a general questions for atheists answered by moi, a professional atheist, on the YouTubes. So, let's begin, shall we? Question 1. Are you absolutely sure there is no God? If not, then is it not possible that there is a God? And if it is possible that God exists, then can you think of any reason that would keep you from wanting to look at that evidence? Okay, right. So, first things first, no, I'm not absolutely sure there is no God. I'm just saying that it makes no fucking sense. And also, the Bible is so contradictory that it is definitely not the Christian God if there is one, which there almost definitely isn't. My way of thinking is there being a God is far too extreme a claim to believe without any kind of evidence whatsoever. So, you know, it's pretty safe to assume there isn't. There being a God makes a lot less sense than there not being a God. And, Occam's razor go with the most reasonable, most likely answer, which is there is no God. So it's possible, but highly unlikely. And I would look at this evidence of which you are speaking, but you did not present any, and neither has anybody else, so it doesn't exist, as far as I'm concerned. Okay, question 2. Would you agree that intelligently designed life calls for an intelligent designer of them? If so, then would you agree that evidence for intelligent design in the universe would be evidence for a designer of the universe? Okay. I would agree that something that was intelligently designed would require an intelligent designer. But the thing about that is, we don't know of anything that's intelligently designed that wasn't made by humans, or at least some dumb ancestor of humans that taped a sharp stone to a stick and made an axe. That's intelligent design. Um, but the thing is, no life has been intelligently designed. Humans and any life on Earth is so insanely flawed. To assume it's intelligent would almost be to assume that whatever made it was malevolent in some way, and only wanted to make us to watch us suffer. So, yeah. And would I agree that intelligent design in the universe will be evidence for an intelligent designer of the universe? No. Because even if, say, we found evidence that life on Earth was intelligently designed, the thing that designed it wouldn't have to have made the whole universe just that life. It could just as easily be some kind of extraterrestrial that wanted to, I don't know, populate this planet as a science experiment for school, because maybe their society would just be that advanced. Or maybe that we're just an entire simulation. Who knows? There are a lot of possibilities. God is not the most likely of them. Would you agree that nothing cannot produce something? If so, then if the universe did not exist but then came to exist, wouldn't this be evidence of a cause beyond the universe? What you're saying is stupid. Really, really, really stupid. Because nothing cannot produce something in the universe where we have laws of physics that govern how things behave and how, you can't just pop something into existence. I feel like I've already said this somewhere, but I might not have actually released what I said. To summarize, outside of the universe, we don't know what there is, but it could exist another universe where things can just pop into existence. Or maybe universes have always existed and there is no beginning because time doesn't exist outside of this little bubble, at least not in the way we understand it, so it could literally be an infinite loop where the universe closes and reopens on itself. Or Maybe it just popped into existence? We can't really say. We don't know. This would not be evidence for a cause, this would be evidence for presumably some natural process outside of nature that creates universes. And it might literally be as simple as, you know, a plant dies, goes back into the soil, and then that stuff goes back into a new plant. Not necessarily that the plant is becoming a new plant, but that the components of it are being recycled in some form. Actually, yeah, recycling would be a good analogy there. Something being broken down and made again. If I had to guess, I'd say that's probably how this system works. 4. Would you agree with me that just because we cannot see something with our eyes, such as our mind, gravity, magnetism, the wind, that does not mean it doesn't exist? Oh yeah, our eyes are not the standard here. We can feel the wind, we can see magnetism acting, we know gravity exists, otherwise we'd be floating around right now, and our mind, that one's a little more iffy, because really our mind is just a series of chemical reactions, so we might not actually exist in that sense. We might literally just be a chain of reactions. So, yeah, I'd agree with you, but with a god that we have no means of testing because it doesn't exist within this universe, it doesn't exist for all intents and purposes. If it has no presence within the universe, then it doesn't affect the universe, basically. We're more or less a closed system on the universal scale, even if everything else isn't. 5. Would you also agree that just because we cannot see God with our eyes does not necessarily mean he doesn't exist? I've already said this in the first one. We have no evidence that he does exist. That doesn't mean he doesn't. Your God doesn't, but a God could, but it's highly unlikely. 6. In the light of the Big Bang, in the light of the Big Bang evidence for the origin of the universe, is it more reasonable to believe that no one created something out of nothing, or that someone created something out of nothing? Right. So you're saying a little ball of energy popping into existence outside of physics makes less sense than a fully formed, intelligent human being or something similar that has infinite power popping into nothing, creating that tiny ball of energy and letting it expand. It's the idea is just ridiculous. It's not even worth considering. Would you agree that something presently exists? If something presently exists and something cannot come from nothing, then would you agree that something must have always existed? No. And it's pretty simple why. I think I've already explained this. Very, very simply put, the Big Bang happened, and that was something coming from nothing. Your whole argument is flawed. You're all basing it on the idea that something can't come from nothing, but that rule only applies for things that exist within this universe after it started existing during the Big Bang, which happened outside of physics. And also, there is the possibility that everything always existed and just repeatedly expands and collapses, and expands and collapses, and it happens over and over and over infinitely. And since the outside of this little bubble would have no physics or completely different physics, time would work in an impossibly different way. So, you know, keep that in mind. So, I would agree that something presently exists, but the rest of your bullshit's wrong. Number 8. If it takes an intelligent being to produce an encyclopedia, then would it not also take an intelligent being to produce the equivalent of 1,000 sets of an encyclopedia full of information in the first one-celled animal? Even atheists such as Richard Dawkins acknowledges that amoebas have as much information in their DNA as 1,000 Encyclopedia Britannicas. Richard Dawkins, the blind watchmaker, New York blah 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 blah. I don't care, right? Okay, this is maybe accurate, but I want you to keep in mind that it's a different kind of information, right? The information held in an encyclopedia is just so ludicrously different than the kind of information you're talking about here, right? The information in Encyclopedia Britannica is the sort of shit you'd find in an encyclopedia, information on things, and it's facts, it's knowledge, not information. And while knowledge is a form of information, it's not the same form of information. What we're talking about with a cell is a bunch of chemicals bonded together that are telling it a way to appear and behave. That's not knowledge, that's a more abstract concept. And knowledge is a pretty abstract concept, so very hard to explain in words because we don't really have a word for it, at least not one I know. Information in the broadest sense here. So it's essentially like if you got some dice and you hurled them at a wall and I don't know, you blindfolded a cat, let it eat 3 of the dice, and then figured out what was left in the shit. Oh, no, actually, it's more like you add in 3 random dice after the cat eats the dice to what's left over, and you keep throwing it at a wall, and assume that the cat is somehow intelligent and picking off certain dice that have, say like the dice have random numbers on them, a random set of 6 numbers. This, this is getting overcomplicated, right? Just random shit, and some of it gets selected out by natural processes, some of it doesn't. I'm explaining evolution to you here, by the way. Random bits get ripped out because they become less common, so shit goes down. I've lost my train of thought. You're being too stupid. I can't keep up with your stupid. It's a different kind of information. I think that summarizes my point. 9. If an effect cannot be greater than its cause, since you can't give what you do not have to give, then does it not make more sense that mind produced matter than that matter produced mind, as atheists say? You what, mate? I'm sorry, that was just nonsense. That didn't mean anything. That wasn't a question. Okay, I'll try to get what I can get from this. So right, first of all, you're operating under the assumption that mind is somehow greater than matter, which makes so little sense, especially considering the fact that mind is essentially just some chemicals spitting at each other. So your question is too dumb to even answer. I'm sure that anyone that knows what I want about here gets what I mean here, but your question is just stupid. Please, if somebody can get what this moron is trying to actually say, please explain it to me in the comments. And feel free to decimate them while you're at it. I would like to see you take this motherfucker down in like a big paragraph. I will read that out in the next video if you do that, seriously. This is a challenge now. I'll pick the best one and I'll read it out if there's more than one. But there probably won't be. Because there'll probably be like 3 views on this. Probably won't even be 1. Anyway. 10. Is there anything wrong anywhere? If so, how can we know unless there is a moral law? What? Is so wrong in the moral sense, then? Well, I don't think you know what morals mean. Generally, morals are specific to the individual. It's ethics if you're going in a general sense. And also, morality is something you develop over time. So what one person might find wrong, another person might not. I think rape is bad, but another person who probably is a rapist might say rape is a-okay. Or maybe they are from a country that practices Islam. Oh, what? Are you gonna call me Islamophobic now? Fuck you. I'd say the same thing about Christians if we hadn't fucking, domesticated them. Jesus. I literally just used the name of their god as a fucking expletive. I love it. Can we do that with other gods? Can I just like stub my toe and just go, Allah, damn it? Um, can that be a thing? Just like accidentally slam my hand in a car door, just like for I don't know, for Yahweh's sake. Yahweh is just God though, isn't it? Fuck. I don't know any gods. For Kali's sake, I don't know. I'm getting off track here. I need to keep focused with this shit. Um, okay, so I think I covered this. We don't need a moral law because morality is based on the individual. And we do have ethics laws, but they're made by people. In case you're trying to get at, there is a God creating moral law. And yep, that's exactly what our next question is. If every law needs a lawgiver, does it not make sense to say a moral law needs a lawgiver? A moral lawgiver? No. No, because moral laws aren't a thing. Morals are subjective from person to person, developed throughout a person's lifetime. Ethics are just generally just the overarching consensus a community has on morals. For example, a lot of people think that stem cell research is wrong, so it's written into ethics laws that we can't do stem cell research. Even though personally I think fuck it, why put a perfectly good fetus to no use? I mean, seriously. It's like the one thing that's good that comes out of an abortion. We might as well take advantage of it. Right, guys? I can't be alone on this. So, no. No, it doesn't. It doesn't need a moral lawgiver. 12. Would you agree that if it took intelligence to make a model universe in a science lab, then it took super intelligence to make a real universe? No. Because, you see, I can grab a handful of rice, throw it at a table, and I have 4 squares on the table marked out with tape and count the amount of rice that lands in each square, right? It takes intelligence to count that rice. It takes intelligence to map out that rice and see where it fell. But it doesn't really take anything to fucking drop rice on a table. It doesn't take super intelligence to drop rice on a table. It doesn't take intelligence at all. It takes wind. You know what I'm saying? 13. Would you agree that it takes a cause to make a small glass ball found in the woods? And would you agree that making the ball larger does not eliminate the need for a cause? If so, then doesn't the biggest ball of all the universe need a cause? Well, the thing is, glass is man-made, generally. Um, Seeing a giant glass boulder in a woods, I would have to assume it was probably man-made. But at the same time, it could have been a very smart bear. But what I really want to know is what glass ball in the woods is the universe? I don't think that's a fair comparison. I think it's a really dumb comparison. Also, in case you weren't aware, if lightning were to strike sand, it would actually crystallize into glass, because that's essentially all glass is sand that's been heated to a high level. So you could, technically speaking, get a glass ball in the woods under the right circumstances without an intelligent creator. It's just random chance. 14. If there is a cause beyond the whole finite, limited universe, would not this cause have to be beyond the finite, namely non-finite or infinite? Okay, right, I'm gonna put that into perspective for those of you that don't see what's wrong with this. Um, I could totally just fill a finite bottle with water. That does not make me an infinitely powerful god who can magically turn on a tap and hold a water bottle under it. Even if there were a god, it being able to create a finite universe wouldn't be a display of infinite power. 15. Okay, last question for atheists, but there are some for agnostics, and there seems to be some for Muslims, so I will scroll through those and see if any of those are worth looking at. The agnostic ones probably will be. 15. In the light of the anthropic principle that the universe was fine-tuned for the emergence of life from its very inception, wouldn't it make sense to say there was an intelligent being who pre-planned human life? The anthropic principle is not fact, you know. It's an idea. It's more philosophy than science. And to say that it's evidence for God is the most blatantly retarded thing I have ever heard come out of a human's mouth. And it's just so stupid. It's the most incredibly stupid thing I've heard all day. And today I heard a guy, and no disrespect to him, this is a guy, he's my friend. I actually like this guy, he's pretty cool, right? But he actually said that he thought it took the Earth a day to get around the sun rather than to rotate on its axis. Then again, a lot of people in my class seem to think that. So maybe I'm just way smarter than I thought I was, and everybody else is actually really, really stupid. But I don't know. I forgot to measure something in millions of kilometers earlier today rather than individual kilometers, so maybe I'm dumb, or maybe I just forgot that something was written on a piece of paper. But anyway, no. Using philosophy as an argument against science is like using fucking whipped cream as an argument against science. It's dumb. It's stupid. It's not going to accomplish anything, and it's going to make you look like a fucking retard. As long as you can accept that, good enough. Okay, so this could very well be where I end the video, but if it is cool, I'll add an intro or whatever. If not, I'll keep on going. I'm going to look at these questions for agnostics, and maybe even the questions for Muslims, and we'll see where we go from there. Oh, there's even questions for Hindus and Buddhists. Incredible. A lot of questions for Buddhists. Holy shit. Poor Buddhists. Right. So I will just go into the agnostic questions for a minute. Question 1. Of the two possible kinds of agnostic, which kind are you? Strong agnostic, who says we can't know anything for sure, or weak agnostic, who says we don't know anything for sure, but we could if we had enough evidence. Those two are the same thing. Just one of them is more confident that the evidence doesn't exist, while the other one is a little more open to the idea. It's the same thing. And this is answering from an atheist perspective. If you are agnostic, please tell me if I am getting any of this wrong, because I know that agnostics are literally just, I don't know whether I believe or not, or not even that, just I believe you can't know for sure. I know that that's what you are, and you don't hold any specific beliefs based on the title agnostic other than you don't know if there's a god or not, in the same way that atheists don't share every view just because they believe that there is no god, just like theists don't all believe the same thing, right? I understand that, but please, if I am misrepresenting agnosticism in some way, let me know. 2. If you are a strong kind, then how do you know for sure that you can't know anything for sure? They don't know that you can't know anything for sure, and they're not saying they do. They're saying you can't know God for sure. And they know that because they understand that proving it is impossible and disproving it is impossible. And I know the same thing, but I take the stance that the claim is too extreme and I refuse to believe it. In the same way that if somebody said, there is a unicorn anally penetrating a leprechaun in my kitchen, I would not feel the urge to go to investigate that because it is too insane a thing to believe. And for all I know, when I get down there, they will just say, "You already missed it." They flew out flew out the window on a rainbow coming right out of Nyan Cat's ass. So, you know, it's no way to prove it, no way to disprove it, unless I'm looking for unicorn semen. But long story short, I'm not going to believe in that unicorn. I'm not going to believe in your magic beardy man. And I'm going to keep not believing in Santa Claus as well. Because we don't know he's fake. But we know he's fake. Like, Jesus, guys. You guys literally fucking believe in Santa Claus at this stage. Right? Just nobody told you otherwise, so you kept believing. 3. If you are the weak kind of agnostic, then is it not possible that we could know for sure that God exists if we had enough evidence? Any agnostic will admit that if there was evidence, even an atheist will admit that if there was evidence, we would believe, right? And that we could know for sure that there is if we had evidence, but we don't. Okay, question 4, last question for agnostics. Do you agree that an open-minded person should be willing to look at all the evidence? If so, then are you willing to look at the evidence for God's existence? I'm sure they would be, if it existed, which it doesn't. Okay, yes, I'm doing these questions for Muslims because most of them seem to be the Christians trying to defend themselves, and it is hilariously fail. So I'm going to cover these. Sorry if I seem like I'm defending Islam. I hate both religions. I would say equally, but Islam seems to be doing a little more damage at the moment, and they seem to be a little more regressive than Christianity. So I have to say that they're losing at the moment for me. But I promise you that I will mostly be taking the piss out of Christians for now, even though I don't like Islam either. Keep that in mind. Do you pray 5 times a day? If you have not done the minimum requirement for a Muslim, how can you be sure you are going to get to heaven? Okay, so Muslims, please tell me, has this been reformed out of your religion or something? Because I know I know a few Muslims, and I haven't seen any of them getting on a fucking prayer mat and praying towards Mecca lately either. And I'm wondering, has I know your religion hasn't had any kind of major reformation, but do you just not take your faith as seriously and you just call yourselves Muslims, or is there actually an explanation behind this? Because I would like to hear it if there are any Muslims in the audience here. Audience. Fuck. 2. How can Jesus be considered a great prophet when the Gospels say so many times that Jesus accepted worship as God? I don't know, maybe he was really full of himself. Who cares? If our Bible today is corrupted, then how do we know what parts are corrupted? All of it's corrupted. It's all corrupt. It's all fiction. Stop believing it, you retard. 4. How can the Bible be corrupted when Muhammad told people to read it, and we have manuscripts showing that the Bible of Muhammad's day was substantially the same as the old one? Because both religions are crocks of shit that refuse to accept or acknowledge facts. 5. How can you believe the Quran when it states that none can change his word? Yet it also says that the Bible is God's previous revelation. Yet you believe that Jesus never claimed to be God, but merely claimed to be a prophet. And somehow the Bible got corrupted because it teaches that Jesus is claimed to be God. Because both of your books are bullshit. Right? Christians, you are just Jews with fanfiction. Accept that, please, for all our sakes. Muslims, right? You are a gritty reboot of Christianity and Judaism. Please understand this. Jews, you guys started this. Why'd you do this? Why'd you do this to me? Jews, why? Please God, why, Jews? Why did you do this? 6. If killing is wrong for religious reasons, then why does the Quran prescribe the killing of unbelievers? I don't know. Why does the Bible say kill gays? They're both full of shit. Sorry, I got a little bit more angry than I normally do there. 7. How can heaven be described as a place full of wine and women when this is the kind of life that if Allah forbids? And it gives a thing. I'll actually link this down below because it has a bunch of references and stuff. So, yeah. Well, the way I see it, most religions generally say live a life of abstinence and then live a life of then live an afterlife of indulgence. Essentially, that's the idea. If you can prove that you can be patient and live in abstinence, you get to indulge in the afterlife. I think it's pretty straightforward in the same way that you guys are not allowed to do a lot of stuff, but your afterlife, which is actually described very vaguely, not very clearly, seems to just let you do whatever the fuck you want. 8. Why do Muslims believe Muhammad is superior to Jesus when the Quran affirms that Jesus was sinless, born a virgin? No, he wasn't. Born of a virgin, called the Messiah, performed miracles such as raising the dead, and bodily ascended into heaven, and Muhammad did none of these things. I don't know, maybe Muhammad didn't feel the need to show off. The born a virgin thing, that's bullshit. The Bible on multiple occasions actually says that, sorry, I'm fairly tired at the moment, sorry. It says, not multiple occasions, sorry, it says at least once, and I will try and find the part where it says this, that Jesus had older siblings, meaning Mary was not a virgin. Uh, so that's a straight up lie. Mary was a slut. Just learned something. Cool. 9. If many Muslims believe the Quran is the eternal word of God and yet different from God, then why can't Jesus be the eternal Son of God and yet different from God? I'm not sure what you're trying to say here. I mean, I think both of your things are bullshit. Jesus wasn't a magic man. The Quran isn't a magic book, right? It was a man, and it was some words on some paper. Neither are special, and I don't see how either of them need to be different from God. And I also don't understand our Muslims saying that Jesus is not different from God. Are they saying he is God? Weren't you arguing just a moment ago that he was just that he was not just a prophet, and that's what they were claiming? You seem to be very all over the place. If Allah can do whatever he pleases, then why could he not allow his prophet, Jesus, to die on the cross and raise him to life again? Then why not? Then why could he not allow his prophet Jesus to die on the cross and rise to life again? What? I'm sorry, I'm very confused about it. I need to read that out one more time. Sorry if this is getting annoying. If Allah can do whatever he pleases, then why could he not allow his prophet Jesus to die on the cross and raise him to life again? Are you saying that he didn't die on the cross in Islam? I'm sorry, I haven't read the Quran. Same reason I haven't read the Bible. They both seem like they'd be very boring and mostly just full of hate. But I just don't know what you're trying to say here. I mean, did Allah not let Jesus die? Your God let Jesus die. He fucking dropped the ball on that one. He could have just, like, turned Jesus into a ninja. Had him, like, whoop all the Romans' asses. Kick ass Jesus. That would have been fucking cool, man. Would have been fucking cool. But did it happen? No. No, no. Just let him die. Let him die on some sticks. Then you just made him float away like a helium balloon that you accidentally let go of. In summary, boo. You suck. Both your religions suck. Islam and Christianity are both terrible. Why are you arguing with each other? Why can't you fucking just cancel each other out or something? Seriously. if we get you to like an equal number of followers, can you two just like, just, I don't know, each of you pair up with one of the other and just sit down and argue until you're both dead? Never reproduce, never do anything, just argue until you starve to death. Please. I mean, I know that might make me sound like a prick, but you guys seem to enjoy arguing with people of other religions or that just don't hold your beliefs. I know that Christians are like that, and Muslims are basically Christians, but with a few minor tweaks here and there, and a little more hatred. So, yeah, both of your things are bullshit. I respect you both equally in the sense that I don't respect either of you at all. And I want you all to keep in mind that that's all of you watching, not all of you Muslims and Christians. Just everyone, atheists or Christians or Muslims or fucking Hindus and Buddhists. Um, I do not hate the people. I hate the religions and what the religions do to the people. I want to make this clear. This is not me expressing hatred towards religions, towards religious people. This is me expressing a criticism of religion and also opposing their views of me as an atheist and also defending agnostics. That's what I'm doing here. And then I went into this to show that both of them are stupid. Please don't try to point out one's flaws if you can't address your own. I have been Nightmare Knight. Please have a great day.